My name is Captain Dylan Blaha, and this message is for all U.S. military service members. He authorized the military to use, quote, full force. This is authoritarianism. All members of the United States military must disobey illegal orders. I have a Bronze Star, a Meritorious Service Medal, and plenty of other awards. That doesn't make me, or others like me, qualified to be the Secretary of Defense for the United States military.
So bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for him.
Yeah, we have an Army captain that is telling service members actively right now that are going to cities or whatever to essentially disobey orders. And I'm going to tell you, this guy is not a lawyer, but he is definitely speaking from a point of authority with this. Let's watch the entire clip so you guys can see, along with some others I've gathered to kind of show his stance of this.
My name is Captain Dylan Blaha, and this message is for all U.S. military service members, especially every general and admiral meeting with Pete Hegseth on Tuesday. I'm a 13-year U.S. Army veteran who served in Afghanistan and wrote war plans while stationed at U.S. Army Europe. This morning, Donald Trump directed Pete Hegseth to deploy the U.S. military to Portland, Oregon. This is the latest illegal attempt to normalize the use of the military in U.S. cities. He authorized the military to use, quote, full force. This is authoritarianism. This is fascism. The U.S. military is not a law enforcement force, and all federalized service members must abide by the Posse Comitatus Act. All members of the United States military must disobey illegal orders. I was just following orders is not a valid defense against war crimes. Grow a spine and stand up for your fellow Americans. Otherwise, you are complicit in this fascist takeover. We're running out of time.
We're running out of time. What does that mean? What are we racing against time? It's creating this sense of urgency, this sense of fear that's with this, where I'm like, I don't know about anyone else. I pay attention to the news. I've never seen any military person ordered to attack Americans. I've never seen anything of that is outside of that. And that includes the LA things that were going on. From this situation, I have to ask questions. And they're very basic questions because if you've served in the military, there are some kind of red flaggy things. First off, you're an Army captain, 13 years. So either you were enlisted, went officer, and then somehow only stayed 10 years or so, or something like that, and then got out at 13 years, or 2, got in trouble, or 3, things just didn't go right. I'm not really sure what's going on here. No one goes to 13 years typically and is like, I'm done, because you have to promote at certain intervals in order to stay in the military. So I'm like, is this some kind of inherent distrust or dislike for the military service that is there? Now, he does speak further on this because a lot of people have been asking. Obviously, he is attention grabbing with all these clips. We'll talk about why later on this video.
How does a soldier know if they received an illegal order? My name is Captain Dylan Blaha, and I'm a U.S. Army veteran who served in places like Afghanistan and Germany. Service members must disobey unlawful orders. So what are some examples? To be unlawful, the act must go against the Constitution, U.S. law, or international law. For example, the Posse Comitatus Act bars federal military from acting as civilian law enforcement. However, National Guard soldiers activated in a non-federal status may assist civilian law enforcement depending on state laws. In many cases, a deployment itself is not illegal. Neither is being asked to guard a federal building. It's just a waste of taxpayer money and resources. If you're a soldier activated in a federal status and you're asked to assist civilian law enforcement, this is an unlawful order. Using military forces to remove or detain immigrants can also be an unlawful order. Use of the military against civilian protesters is an unlawful order. The only notable exception is if the president declares an insurrection. Unfortunately, the ultimate determination of what constitutes an illegal order always comes after the fact, either by a military court, a civilian court, or a war crimes tribunal. If you're in the military and you believe you received an unlawful order, call the GI Rights hotline. Thanks, and have a great day.
Almost feels like you just need a lawyer in your pocket for anything now. It's just like everything shall be through some kind of legal lens, and essentially this guy's telling you, give up your career. It's going to go through all these courts, and if you don't know, it's really expensive. Really, really expensive to sit here and try and, battle this out in court. And by the way, there's probably some of these entities that are like, we'll do it for free. To do that at scale, to risk everything, I'm not saying break the law. I'm just saying, you're asking somebody that has nothing to lose to pretty much go a little off the rails with this, where a lot of military are living paycheck to paycheck, and that is kind of difficult. And on top of that, they're probably looking at this and they're like, I'm not winning this battle. This is something way above my pay grade. As long as I'm not breaking the law, I'm good. Now, he does attack some of the current members that are at play with this, and this is what he has to say.
My name is Dylan Blaha, and I'm a U.S. Army veteran who stands with the American people. Donald Trump continues to activate the National Guard against American citizens. The other day, I spoke out against our president and his threats on Portland. I said, this is authoritarianism. This is fascism. Today, after witnessing Hegseth and Trump's speeches to a room full of generals and admirals, I have one thing to say. As you can see, I wasn't wrong. Hegseth said he will remove all anonymous reporting for sexual harassment because all the white men in the military are tired of being held accountable. He also made fun of wokeness and DEI in the military. He then said all generals who disagree with him should resign. Trump echoed much of the same rhetoric. He said anyone who disagreed with him could leave the room, adding, there goes your rank and your future. He also floated the idea of using cities like Chicago as training grounds for the military. Diversity in the military is what makes us great. We swear an oath to the Constitution and to the American people. This is an attempt to eliminate dissent, so everyone remaining in the military is only loyal to Donald Trump rather than the Constitution itself. Stay safe and have a great day.
Two massive things that I'm going to point out from this situation. Number one is they did take away the anonymous reporting. So it is not like someone can just throw rocks at you and be totally just, I don't know who threw the rock. It is confidential. Now, I don't know the legalities of that and how that's disclosed or whatever else. Yes, he did say, if you're not on board, I would say get out too. Imagine you were an Army captain. If somebody was like, hey, you got somebody in your troop or your platoon here that's, not doing what they should be, and they are against you in every step of the way, and they're trying to sabotage anything that you're trying to do, would you keep them around? Probably not. You would probably be like, yeah. So a lot of people talk about the military service being a socialist structure that kind of protects democracy and all these different buzzwords and terms, which make it really interesting. I'm telling you, there are not a lot of people that are going to jump off a bridge just because you're telling them to jump off a bridge. And it does appear that this Army captain does go further along with his credentials to say that he has a lot of stuff to back it up, but essentially saying Pete Hegseth, the Secretary of War, is not capable of leading because his awards mean nothing.
Hi, I'm a 12-year U.S. Army veteran, and today I want to talk about Signalgate. I personally worked on war plans for the U.S. and NATO, and my message today is quite simple. In war plans, information becomes classified once you add times and locations to specific capabilities. Information is also classified if it can lead to the harm of U.S. service members or U.S. interests. The only time I used Signal was to text somebody to let them know to check their secure email. Listen, I have a Bronze Star, a Meritorious Service Medal, and plenty of other awards. That doesn't make me or others like me qualified to be the Secretary of Defense for the United States military. Thank you.
I found that piece ironic because I was like, why would somebody be so vocal against the current administration? And this is not to be politically biased by any means. I don't care. But it's like, oh, now I know why. This person's running for office. And I was like, oh, that's why we're seeing all these hot takes trying to garner attention and things like that. In every video, he's like, I'm a war veteran. I went to Afghanistan. I'm like, dude, everybody's using any inch of credibility to try and boast their credibility in any way, shape, or form. We've seen it in the bro-vet sphere that I've talked about. We've seen it in politics before. We've seen it all over the sphere of the world where people are like, trust me, bro, I know what I'm talking about. But I don't think that this is going to move the needle at all because we are seeing people playing chess right now. And the military is unfortunately, in some ways, being caught in the middle of a lot of this riffraff that's going on. And I can't really talk much about this, but I can say that you guys can down in the comments below. And let me know what you guys think about this former Army captain, kind of what's going on in his messaging here.